I'm just going to read you it and then we're going to have a little look at it again, just to remind everybody what the actual definition is of the law here. Serious foul play, a tackle or challenge that endangers the safety of an opponent or uses excessive force or brutality means it must be sanctioned as serious foul play, which means 3 game. So a 3-game ban for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Let's have a closer look at it again. We saw lots of replays at the time. Tell me your initial thoughts about this as you guys were watching it.
That it wasn't even a foul, let alone a red card, and I think that was the feeling around the stadium. We're sat here, whether it's the crowd, you know, he goes to slide almost. You know what he's trying to do is just wrap his foot around the ball to try and win it. Again, you can see the referee playing on, and there's nothing in there for me, any.
I mean, he's barely clipped him. I mean, call me old school, call me whatever you like. That I don't even think that's a yellow card. Barely a foul. I think it's actually a very controlled tackle. And what I want to see from referees now, we almost assume that once they go over to the screen, they're going to give it. But these referees can be strong enough to go with their instinct and say, I do not think that is a foul. Because I don't think the VARs...
But I think this is half the problem. What we've just seen there on the screen, the slow-mo, you know, you can slow something down, it looks a lot worse, but was there real impact in the challenge? Has he gone into it at a real pace that's going to endanger the opponent?
Well, it's not
for me, absolutely not.
It's not excessive, is it? That's the word in the ruling. It's not excessive.
And the contact's minimal.
Dangerous. Contacts are minimal.
I just find with VAR, we're sort of trying to find ways to issue a red card or disallow a goal. You know, the referee's made his decision on the pitch, and somebody sitting in a completely sanitised room somewhere is deciding it was a lot worse than it was. And I just think if we're going to start giving red cards for that, Laura, it's ridiculous, really.
I think the language as well to remember, was it clear, was it obvious as a mistake for somebody to intervene, for the referee to need to go and have a little look and overturn his decision? Let's take another look, and I'll just remind you, a tackle or challenge that endangers the safety of an opponent or uses excessive force or brutality. Sometimes when you watch this as well, when it's slowed down, it can give you a little bit of a different opinion on it.
But the thing is, there's no matter how many times we watch that, it's never excessive. So yes, there's all these angles and you can slow it down. He's barely clipped him.
Nobody's even appealing for it on the pitch. I think Mark Gahey's probably the only one who throws his hands up. And then this comes back to in terms of what is a dangerous tackle and what's not. You put 10, 100 people who've played the game in a room, I'm telling you now, not one of those is going to come out and say that's a red card.
See Will Hughes there saying studs. But I suppose if you're the player on the pitch that wants one of the other players to be sent off, you're going to say it anyway. But is there... I mean, there is no real, I suppose, grey area in this for lots of people that are watching in terms of the officials, because they'll make that decision. But as players, as you guys as players that are watching it, and you were summing up a little bit of frustration of the game becoming too controlled by people who aren't perhaps on the pitch here at the time. But does it sometimes need that interference? Does it need that at all?
For real big issues or big challenges that were missed or mistakes, which is going to happen when the game is played at such a big pace. But again, somebody's actually gone to the effort of looking back on that and sort of thinking, right, well, the referee's made a real clear and obvious error, which I don't think he has. And I think it puts the referees under such pressure. It's almost an impossible job now, because every time they're making a decision, they're being second-guessed by somebody else.
But the ref still has the opportunity to go with his instinct and say, that is not a red card. They've still got that instinct, and the referees in the VAR are referees. I don't think they would give it if they were Christopher Kavanagh tonight. So something's going on where decisions are being made that are very different to what's going on the pitch. And unfortunately for Everton, they now lose Dominic Calvert-Lewin for 3 games in the Premier League as well. That, you know, that is harsh. It's unfair.
Those 3 games, Villa at home, Fulham away, and then the replay as well, of course, of this at Goodison Park, where some of their form hasn't really been there in terms of their best results have come away from home.
No, and I think that's where we look at, we were pleased that both managers went very strong tonight, but you can understand at this stage of the season, you know, you've lost your main striker now. Dwight McNeil goes off injured, so he'll probably be scratching his head a bit saying, oh, should I have really risked them? And I think that's the situation that we find ourselves, and that's why you just want the officials making correct decisions. Injuries happen, that's part of the game, we understand that, but it'll be really disappointed to be losing Dominic Calvert-Lewin for that.
Quick one before we go to the break. Do you agree with any? Because you're right, Chris Kavanagh has the chance to go and have a little look at the screen and make his own decision. Does the buck get passed? Is it too much like that now?
I think so, I really do, and I think it's very difficult for the official to go against somebody he knows who's seen it multiple times. He's only seen it once in real time, but again, I think that does tell you a lot about the type of decision, the force, the feeling around the stadium. Nobody here appealed for that, you know, and I think that tells you a lot about the ferocity or the danger of the tackle.
But do you not think, Jobi, that you get more respect as a referee if you actually give a decision that everyone can see? I think you get more respect as a ref. because you're still in control. I think the game's being refereed by people who aren't in the stadium, and that, I think, for me, is the problem.